In Source games, there are a lot of natural relationships that exist between different types of NPCs and between NPCs and the player. For example, if you spawn in on Gary's mod in sandbox mode and decide to create a Metro Police entity, it will start attacking you straight away. One way of mitigating this when mapping is to use an entity called an AI relationship. What we're going to do in this example is make this rebel here feel neutral towards this Combine soldier. Neutral means that they won't attack each other. All you need to do is create a point entity and change its class type to AI_relationship. Here are the key values. I'll go through each one. First of all, a name. This is important if you are going to use this relationship as an input or an output. For example, you could make these two NPCs here naturally hate each other, but then maybe if you walk into a trigger or press a button, you can turn this relationship on, which means that they'll stop attacking each other. Next up, we have subject and target. The subject is who we'd like to enforce the relationship on, and the target is who the relationship is going to be directed towards. In our case, I've set it so that the rebel will have some kind of relationship or disposition towards the Combine. Disposition determines what the actual relationship is going to be. You have 4 options: hate, fear, like, and neutral. Neutral means that they won't attack each other. Like means that they'll like each other. There isn't too much difference between those two. Like is only generally used for rebel soldiers and determines whether they can be commanded or not. Fear means that they'll fear each other, and hate means that they'll actively start attacking each other. We're going to set this disposition to neutral to stop them from attacking each other. Radius for subject is a value that you'll want to adjust, where if the subject is in a certain position relative to this entity, then the relationship will be enforced. But if they leave that radius, then it won't be. Unfortunately, you don't really have a helper ball or a camera with this one, so you'll have to experiment for yourself if you want to use this. Disposition priority is only really generally used if you have 2 relationships that are being enforced on one person, and i.e. the same target as well. For example, this rebel here is a class type NPC_citizen. So if we have another relationship which says that all citizens hate Combine soldiers, and we have this relationship here which says that we want this specific citizen to be neutral with this specific soldier, we can change the disposition priority value to make this relationship have the priority over the other one. Start active is obvious. If you set it to yes, this relationship will be enforced as soon as the map spawns. We'll set this one to yes. And reciprocal means whether the relationship will be mirrored by the target. In our case, it will make the Combine be neutral towards the rebel. We'll set this to yes. This now means that neither of them will attack each other. And my hammer seems to have crashed. It is also possible to use an AI relationship and reference the player. For example, we can make it so that a Combine soldier won't attack the player. I have an example map here which I'm going to eventually render and show you in game, just some examples of what you can do with AI relationship. But I have some global ones here because we want to see some relationships between 2 sets of NPCs, for example, and we don't want the player to interfere with them. If you have a look at this global relationship here, you can see that the relationship between a Metro Police class type, as you can see NPC_Metro Police, and the player is neutral. This means that every Metro Police NPC in the entire map won't attack the player. It's best I show you each and every one of these examples rather than go through them. You'll probably learn more by seeing what you can actually do. I will put a VMF of this map in the description of the video so you can have a look at it for yourself and see how things are constructed. So let's do a compile and take a look at what this looks like in-game. So this is what the compiled example map that I've made looks like. I will put a VMF to this in the description. It's probably best that I show you each one of these examples rather than go through them. as they all demonstrate just what AI relationship can do. Here's the example that we made earlier between the rebel and the Combine soldier. As you can see, they're neutral towards each other, and they're also neutral towards me. I have a trigger set up here which is going to make these two NPC Metro Polices, which are naturally neutral towards each other, hate each other. You should be careful with this, as you notice the NPC here is in T-pose. This is something that you'll just have to play around with and make sure that you don't encounter this error in your own time. Here are two zombies which are neutral towards me. As you notice, they aren't trying to attack me, but there is some unique behavior that the fast zombie has compared to the regular zombie. If you approach a fast zombie, it will attack you. A normal zombie doesn't seem to care. Here's an example of the fear disposition. We're going to make these two citizens fear each other. Notice how one of them is armed and the other one isn't. If a NPC is unarmed and they fear something, they'll run away from it. If they are armed and fear something, they'll attack it. As you see, the citizen tries to run away here, but doesn't really have anywhere to go. And this one that does fear the NPC attacks it instead. Here's an example of input and output. These two NPCs are currently neutral towards each other, but if I push a button here, it creates a new relationship which overrides the current one and makes them hate each other. And finally, we have an antline which is neutral towards us. This is just to very quickly demonstrate what neutral behavior actually means. If I attack this antlion, you'll notice that it doesn't actually start attacking me back. If you want this to happen, you'll have to program that in yourself. And that's just a good few examples of what AI relationship can do. Just experiment with it in your own time and you'll find something that works for your level. It really is just that simple, to be honest.